on private property. That's even in our daily performances of duty, and we use a great number of them on a daily basis. Liability are the things that really face the county in the event that something should happen. The same is true for your volunteers. And I have the same empathy that you do, but it's a matter of liability for the property owners, volunteers, paroled people, and or their workers, or any injury, and if things should happen, or then something has to be resolved. We've looked at a number of issues, and in conjunction with Greenville, if they're willing to win permission from those private property owners, there are some things that could be done, but it's a matter of an expense is not primary, it's procedure. There's a lot of work in there. There's a lot of things that need to be done.
Can we sign a waiver?
I can't make that decision.
I mean,
if you want to do it on your own.
By law, can we sign a waiver if we get hurt and killed? It's our own problem for private property.
I think the issue, though, the county has not asserted jurisdiction or control over the cemetery, so the county is not encouraging or trying to keep you and your volunteers from going and cleaning up the cemetery.
Okay.
So today, if you go do that, the board is not saying do it or don't do it. It's not our property.
Yeah.
So we can't really tell you don't do it. Now, what happens is there is a statute that allows the board, and if it wishes, does not compel the board, but it allows the board to go out and clean up private cemeteries if that is an expense you wish to take on. And so that would allow you to access it and do that if you wanted to. But you don't, I mean, the board isn't here to give or deny you permission to go out there and clean up the cemetery any more than the board could give or deny you permission to go out and photograph it like it did, or go out in the newspaper to go out and photograph it, or anybody else who wants to. It's just not the board's property.
So y'all have the authority to go out and do that. It's the expense of that. Okay.
There's a statute that permits but not requires.
It's kind of like when people don't cut their grass long enough that the county can come out and cut it and charge them for it, basically, in a way. I mean, can that be done? I mean, if you're talking some volunteers involved in that too, the expense is going to cut way down. These volunteers aren't asking for a penny. They're going to spend the money out of their pocket.
This has come up from time to time, and the issue that's always that previous boards have had to grapple with is that there are a tremendous number of private cemeteries in this county. And rather than on an ad hoc basis just going out and saying we're going to clean up this one and not that one, you really need to think up some procedures and policies on what qualifies to get the county involved and how you want to handle that.
Well, this video,
I mean, Mr. Spears himself has got, what, 1,000 cemeteries in Madison County that are private?
Yeah. This video, if you watch it, it'll be on my website tonight, and you can see, I would say it's a priority myself because there's mostly trash, and in that trash there's some graves, and you'd have to really carefully pull some of that apart to find the missing graves. I mean, I've seen the pictures of Roy Ellis's yard. That's a problem, but they're still there. The Boy Scouts, I think, came in and cleaned around it, but they can only do so much. This is beyond that. This is way beyond that. This was a dump site, and there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of bones out there, some questionable bones all over the place. Animal too, obvious, but some of them, that's why I'm getting Tina out there to decide if there needs to be investigated further, if it's human or not. Of course, they're probably dug up if they're human. They're not like someone who's killed out there, I don't think. But so really, there's no answer here of what happened, right? I don't really have an answer of why it didn't get addressed between 2007 and today. There's no answer to that.
I think the reason it didn't get addressed is it's not a county responsibility to tell somebody to go out and clean it up or not to tell somebody to clean it up. It's not our, we can't just send a crew out there to clean that up on private property.
But there was nothing ever materialized from that. No letters were sent to anybody. I can't find any records that what you just said went past these minutes. Nothing ever went past these minutes, really. Nothing ever. And I think it was probably Elmer that brought this up to begin with.
It was.
In here.
He wanted us to take on the maintenance of all the cemeteries in the
Well,
county.
I can't speak for him. I can't speak for him, but
that's where it was left in about 2 years ago.
that one apparently something got agreed to be done, but then there was no follow-up in writing at all, like nothing happened. And I want to see something happen. I haven't been to all these millions of graveyards. I've just seen that's got to be the worst graveyard I've ever seen. I have been to a lot. There's some in ruins here, but this is different than ruins. This is private citizens or whatever dumping trash on someone else's graveyard, and apparently there's a small handful of people that give a crap about it.
Maybe we make a plea to the Pallbearers of Lodge number 3 to see if there's any descendants left there that would step up and take on this responsibility.
You know, it seems like wouldn't you think one of them would have complained? I'm thinking nobody ever visits there. I definitely was the first set of tire tracks in a year or two to be there. There was no sign. It was grown up. There is someone coming and going all the time. Pool Realty or somebody selling some land as you drive in. That's the beginning of my video.
Yeah, I went out there and personally looked at this, back when this came up before. I went out there and walked on it just like you did. It's been trashed. People driving up through there, it's just an abandoned piece of property.
If nothing else, there's health hazard there. I mean, there's an unlimited amount of oil spill, and no telling what's in the ground. And I'm not a tree hugger in any way, but there's hydraulic fluid. So much has been dumped there, there's no telling. And you better bring your mosquito spray if you go out there. And it was cold. It was cold out, and they just eat you alive. Because you imagine how much sitting water there is. But,
Well, whatever I can do as a private citizen, if you need my help or, to get in contact with me, I can come out and do what I can.
Okay.
Because myself and Mr. Watch, we did go out there. And I think it was about maybe a year ago, less than a year.
pretty much private citizens could take that on and not even talk about it. Nobody would even know they're there. That's probably how it should be handled. I mean, it's too much red tape, and maybe there's nobody that cares, maybe there's nobody alive, but I care. I do. If that, see, like I said, people are gonna have equipment, but we need a dumpster. We need a dumpster to throw it all in and.
Be coordinated.
Could we do that?
And county should be able to provide a dumpster. It would have to be like for specific time.
Yeah.
You're gonna leave it out if people.
I got a big enough group that it'll get taken care of in a few days, the trash. Now that we can't be cutting down the trees. That's just a shame the way they're growing in the graves and stuff. We can't really get into that, but we get to pick up all that trash, and it'll be a big dumpster full.
Agenda, make a motion. Be my motion that the county provide a dumpster and be coordinated. Point in time when 5 citizens will be out there to help out.
If you're gonna do that, oh, I'm sorry, you're doing
Second.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I took it as you're amending the agenda and making this
County make a
motion
motion, right.
to allow the county to provide a dumpster.
Give them a dumpster.
We in discussion now? Tommy, you want to?
The only thing is when you're providing a dumpster, the county can certainly waive its own charges, but you can't waive the tipping fees at the landfill. So are you intending to not only give the dumpster, but have the county pay the tipping charges?
Yes.
Okay, do you want to set an amount as to what you pay, or you probably don't want that to be open-ended? And maybe Mr. Weiss can give us some guidance on what is a reasonable, what you think the amount of trash would be, or what the county.
From what I've seen, not including what the dumpster would cost, which of course the commissioner has just agreed to waive, and I've heard that. Our tipping fees for that probably run you, I'm going to say, for close to about $10,000. But I don't think the fee and the money is not the problem. On the right-of-way is the only place we can place that dumpster as opposed to putting it on private property without that permission, and that's the guidelines. But at your direction, I'll put it where you tell me, but the right-of-way would be the most suitable place. It keeps everybody here safe.
Right.
It really does. And so if you want that dumpster placed based upon their direction, I'll place it for you on the right-of-way, which is some few yards away from where your objective is.
Right, that's, it's just how it has to be.
I can do that.
What did you say the expense would be?
It'll be between $7,000 and $10,000.
$7,000 to $10,000?
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of trash out
And
there.
that's an estimate. And And maybe one step further, cleaning up would be stellar. I'd love to see it, or the same as would you, and of course you would too. But continuation from that point would obviously lead to enforcement for those that choose to still violate what would be
There's
illegal
a sign out there I noticed now, right?
Well,
That's a $500 fine, whatever.
enforcement is still the issue. It could say $10,000 unless
Right.
it's enforced.
Right.
Unless you've got that enforcement capability, then we all lose.
So the cable that's up there now, somebody can actually take the cable down and drive it in, don't?
It's fixed. It looks, doesn't it, to me, looks like nobody's been past that since that cable was put up in a vehicle.
It's permanently installed. There's a path that walks around the side that would allow some pedestrian to walk in.
They've dumped out front. Nobody's ever complained about that cable being there. It could just make it better than it is.